Paperclip Martinsville Speedway for tonight's next round of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series schedule here in the year 2025. It's going to be an interesting one to say the least. Here today, we know how this race can and sometimes goes. Typically, we get a lot of cautions when the Truck Series heads to Martinsville Speedway, especially under the lights. We'll see if that'll be the case here tonight. Maybe we get a solid race, maybe one of the better races of the weekend. We'll just have to find out over the next couple hours to see where things take us. But as far as this one here today, we have full flag-to-flag coverage for you as usual for Craftsman Truck, Xfinity, and Cup Series races every NASCAR race weekend, as well as Cup practice and qualifying. And for today as well, this also starts the Triple Truck Challenge for the Truck Series, so some drivers will be racing for something. In the 3 races of the Triple Truck Challenge, $50,000 is on the line for anybody basically to win as a bonus. If they are to win 2 of the 3 races, they get a $150,000 bonus after the second race, a $500,000 if they are able to win all 3. Those 3 races would include Martinsville, Bristol, and Rockingham, all technical, shorter racetracks. And it's definitely going to put on full display who has some of the best talent in the Craftsman Truck Series just with these 3 races alone here over the next few weeks. Appreciate everybody tuning in, though, for this stream. Be sure to hit the like button, subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. This is our first of 4 live commentary streams this weekend at Martinsville Speedway, all for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck, Xfinity, and Cup Series. And obviously our only one here on this Friday night. As we're getting set for this, 50 laps in stage 1 and 2. Final stage will be 100 laps, making up our 200-lap distance for this evening's event. 200 laps, about 100 miles or so, on this roughly just over a half-mile racetrack. Shortest track on the NASCAR circuit here at Martinsville, and kind of races like any other normal Saturday, Friday night local short track. Gonna see some beating and banging. Maybe some tempers flaring, that could happen too. Waiting to take you trackside for the pre-race ceremonies for today's race, and it looks like that is coming up right now. I'll let you listen into the pre-race, and then when they go to commercial, we'll go through the starting lineup for tonight's event.
Your ROTC Color Guard presents our nation's colors. Here to offer tonight's invocation, please welcome Senior Pastor of First Baptist Church in East Martinsville, Charles Whitfield.
Would you join me in prayer? Gracious God, we thank you for this day and for the spirit of unity. We thank you for the thrill of this race tonight. Our prayer is that you keep the drivers safe, bless the crews, and may all gathered here tonight experience joy, fellowship, and peace. In your holy name we pray with thanksgiving. Amen.
Here to perform our national anthem, please welcome from Virginia Tech, Naturally Sharp.
Oh, say, can you see? What's your breath? What's wrong? It's not screaming. Who must rush out and turn and rock? It's so good. No way. Sleep. For the rain. So, he's streaming. Yeah, it's right. So, sing. Yeah.
Alrighty, time to go through the starting lineup of tonight's Boys and Girls Club of the Blue Ridge 200 at Martinsville Speedway. As I mentioned already, 200 laps are scheduled distance for tonight's event. No rain in the forecast as well. We'll get this whole thing in here on this Friday evening. Corey Heim starting on the front row, looking for redemption after a close call loss last week, taking third at Homestead Miami Speedway with engine troubles in the late going of that race. Dropped him out of the lead. He led the most laps, and he won the 2 of the first 3 races before that so far this season. So needless to say, Corey Heim has been red hot. More on that in a bit, but again, Heim starting on the pole. Ty Majeski outside of the front row for this one. Great short track racer, has won on the Truck Series level on numerous short tracks, yet has to get a win at Martinsville Speedway. We'll see if he can do that here this evening. Caden Honeycutt, who comes in 10th in the point standings, will start inside of row 2 with Chandler Smith to his outside. Chandler Smith up in the top 3 in points, starting up there with the other drivers in the top 3. Only 2 drivers in points ahead of him, Heim Majeski, who are on the front row. In row number 3 will be Daniel Hemrick and Tanner Gray. In row number 4, Lane Riggs, who is another good short track racer in the Truck Series field on a regular basis. He should be fun to watch here this evening. Could be a competitor for the win. Jake Garcia for Thor Sport Racing will be on the outside of Riggs in row 4. In row 5 will be Lawless Allen making his first truck start for Tricon Garage this season. And Raja Kruth in the 71 looking for redemption after a sluggish start to the 2025 campaign. Connor Mosak and Stuart Friesen will line up in row 6, row 7 for our only Cup regular in the field, William Byron, and 3-time truck champion Matt Crafton. Corey Day back in the field this weekend doing double duty, running his first career Xfinity race tomorrow afternoon, running the trucks tonight for Spire Motorsports in the number 7, and rookie Gio Ruggiero in the number 17 for Tricon Garage in the 16th position. For starting in this race, Jack Wood and Matt Gold will make up row 9 behind them. Middle of the pack, couple of truck veterans, Grant Enfinger and Ben Rhodes in row 10. Row 11 for Andres Perez and Dawson Sutton. Matt Mills, Tyler Ankrum in row number 12. Tony Breidinger, Spencer Boyd, row 13. Luke Baldwin, who was fastest in practice for Thor Sport in the 66 this evening, will be inside of row 14. AJ Waller to his outside. Justin Carroll, Nathan Bird in row 15. Frankie Muniz and Cody Dennison in row 16. And rounding out the field, row 17 and 18 here, Norm Benning, Ryan Roulette in row 17. Row 18, Patrick Staropoli, who will be rounding out our 35 truck field here in this race. Biggest truck field we've had so far this season. Again, 35 trucks in it. We'll see who's going to win it here at Martinsville. Braden, Billy Kramer, Matthew Dorter Bruno, you guys are the first in the chat. Appreciate you tuning in. I'll try to shout out as many people as I see in the chat that are newcomers throughout the course of tonight's race. As usual, I'll have the live flag-to-flag commentary for you. A mix of my commentary, which will be throughout most of the stream, and I'll let you listen into some of the FS1 broadcasts as well along the way. On tonight's call in the FS1 booth will be Jamie Little on the play-by-play, lap-by-lap commentary duties again, along with Phil Parsons and Joey Logano. Seen Logano in quite a few booths so far this season for the Truck Series. Jeffrey Giordano, thanks for tuning in. Wade, welcome to the stream. Luke Baldwin getting an interview pre-race.
You're about to hop in for your first Truck Series race. What are the emotions you have right now, and what are your expectations?
Yeah, it's surreal. I just expect to go out there and have a competitive truck. It's been really fast all day. I definitely made some pretty big mistakes in qualifying there, and put us in a bad spot. But you know, I just gotta put my head down and be grateful for the situation I'm in. You know, it's really cool to come out here and race this truck for the Thor Sport Racing guys, and Mohawk Northeast has given me a great opportunity to come out here and do it. So just gonna try to keep the nose clean, be patient, try to slice through the field a little bit, and do that at the end, execute on pit strategy and you know whatever else we run into.
We'll look out there tonight, Luke. Thank you.
So, Joey, what do you think making his debut at this place?
Well, you know, on one hand, Martinsville is a very challenging racetrack, but on the other hand, this is how he grew up, short track racing. He's raced here at Martinsville in the modifieds before, so he's...
Yeah, Jamie Little is full-time. I'm aware of that. Joey Logano is not, though, obviously. Phil Parsons has barely been in the booth this year. Actually, I think that Joey Logano's been in the booth more than Phil Parsons so far this season. A lot of the races so far, they've had a lot of Cup regulars. Kind of like how Fox did the rotating booth there in the years where it was just Mike Joy and Clint Boyer every week, and then they would have a rotating third person in the booth. The only difference is with the Truck Series this year seems to be both of the color commentary roles more often than not. Kevin Harvick's been in the booth a couple times this year. Keselowski, Kyle Busch 1 week. Granted, no, the Busch one was an Xfinity race, actually, at Vegas. Not the truck event. FAHQ2, thanks for tuning in.
But tonight, she is our Grand Marshal, ready to say the most famous words in motorsports. Take it away, Marisa.
On behalf of the Boys and Girls Clubs of the Blue Ridge, drivers, start your engine.
There you have it. Engines are firing at the Martinsville Speedway. Dropping the green flag will be shortly. Twilight hours. About to go into full darkness in Martinsville, Virginia shortly. Track temp will continue to cool as we get deeper into the night. Already starting off cool, sub 60 degree ambient temperatures at this time of the day. Relatively warm at this time of the year, though, for Martinsville, Virginia, in the month of March. About that when we get there. Clear skies for both today and tomorrow's on-track activity. Truck Series already obviously had a full practice session as well as qualifying earlier before the race all in one day, as typically the Truck Series tends to do. Xfinity Series also had practice and qualifying prior to the truck race. Trucks took the track today at about 2 p.m. Eastern. Qualifying immediately after, and then obviously same for the Xfinity Series action. So for the fans in attendance, a day early, end of the work week. They've seen quite a bit of on-track activity already leading up to the start of our first race. Got my Michigan Wolverines hat. We got March Madness going on tonight. I will not be able to watch all of it. I actually have to work in the morning. The last time I had to do this on a work night, we had multiple rain delays out of nowhere. Well, we also didn't have any chance of rain going into the evening. I doubt that that's going to happen 2 times in a row. That was also a later start anyway, because they were out west in Vegas. Later start for me, at least, being on the east. Won't have to deal about that again. Gonna watch wrestling at 8. Yep, well, that's going on too. Road to WrestleMania. I'll be watching my highlights when I'm on break at work tomorrow. On top of getting my notes ready. I'll be listening to it more than anything. Not gonna be able to watch much of it. Racing Tigers baseball. There you go. That's like a perfect doubleheader too. Race will be getting done right about the time the game's starting. All right, trucks are rolling. From pit road onto the racetrack, that is. Joey Logano going to dial up somebody from the booth for an interview. And it looks like it's going to be Corey Day, I believe.
But if you don't win tonight, there's only, one person to blame. How does that make you feel?
William Byron, excuse me.
No pressure, right? Yeah, no, it'll be fun. Got more work to do, so these things drive quite a bit different than the Cup car here, so just trying to figure it out. Hopefully we have a good race.
I'm sure you will. It'll be fun to watch out there. Good luck.
Appreciate it.
Well, he was
The HendrickCars.com sponsorship everywhere. There's like 3 trucks in the field that have the same sponsorship. It's all the Spire trucks too. It's Corey Day's truck. It's William Byron for tonight, obviously running the 07. And also for Raja Karuth. Now trying to dial up Corey Heim, it sounds like.
Right up front, I like to draw a little bit easier. Very grateful for my truck and garage guys. Mobile toucher was really good all day. Definitely got to keep it up front. I think inevitably we're going to have to come to the field at some point. So It's certainly going to be our toughest battle all night, but just not that we can get it done. So, you know,
Yes, sir. Good looking Mobile One Toyota there. Go get Toyota
Is-
to win in their 500th race tonight, bud.
absolutely. Thank you. We'll try.
Mentioned Phil Parsons was in the booth. I apologize on that. Michael Waltrip is in the booth, the other old truck guy, or at least truck guy from recent years, maybe not old. Well, he's been around for a while, actually, doing the Truck Series races, because I think he started doing Truck Series stuff while he was still driving part-time. Technically, he was still running the super speedways on the Cup Series level part-time while he was still working for Fox in the pre-race on Sundays. Sounded like a Zoom. It did sound like a Zoom. I don't believe they're remote. I believe that they are actually at the racetrack. Sometimes they do a remote broadcast on Fox, but I think with Fox covering this point of the NASCAR season, usually they'd be in the actual booth rather than remote from Charlotte. At the old school radio. Little CB action. Trying to dial these guys up pre-race. John Barber, Michael Turner, welcome to the stream. Yep, races on Fox Sports 1 tonight. Many of you probably just getting off of work Friday evening. Appreciate you tuning in. I'm curious to see what Luke Baldwin does in the race, considering he was fastest in practice earlier this afternoon. Starts deep in the field, but making his debut, and I think he should be pretty quick. But starting mid-pack, especially at Martinsville in the Truck Series, gotta stay clear of trouble. Very easy to get involved in an incident, a lot of which maybe not of your own doing. Don't want to be over-aggressive, especially in these first 50 laps, knowing that you're gonna be guaranteed 2 cautions. Driver's only going to have to pit 1 time for fuel purposes. They'll have a couple of sets of tires to choose from, depending on how the cautions lay out, how many trucks are on the lead lap at the timing of each yellow. That could lead into some sort of strategy. Yeah, when they're away from the track, it's basically what I'm doing right now. They're just using the cameras that Fox has given them. They have more cameras than I do. I only have the one. Whatever's on the actual broadcast, at least they have multiple cameras to look at. But it's basically the same thing I'm doing. Which kind of makes me feel like I can actually get the job done. Like if I can do it from here with limited technology that they have doing the same thing. So you're saying there's a chance. What there is a very strong chance of tonight is Corey Heim getting the win. That's going to be my pick to win this race here this evening. He had the best short run and long run truck in practice session earlier, qualified on the pole. He's won at Martinsville before, actually got his first career truck win at this racetrack a couple seasons ago. 130 to 140 mile per hour is the, or mile per hour. Laps is the fuel window, 130 to 140 laps. So again, they will only have to pit 1 time. And if we get a caution in the middle going to stage 2, you may see drivers pit then for fuel. And depending on how track position goes, and again, how many cautions we get tonight, that could be the last stop. 30 mile per hour is the pit road speed limit at Martinsville Speedway. Relatively flat racetrack. Concrete in the corners, 8 to 9 degrees of banking. None on the very short 800-foot straightaways. Dale Campbell, welcome to the stream. Yeah, Ryan Blaney actually got his start with Tommy Baldwin as well in the Xfinity Series. The then named Nationwide Series, made his debut at Richmond. Obviously having the ties with his dad racing there in the past, I'm sure. But I believe he was only 19 years old when he made that debut. He might have been younger. He might have been 17. I don't know. Should probably done a little bit more investigative research on that. But he did make his debut at Richmond. with Tommy Baldwin. He was probably a teenager considering it was a short track he was starting on. He looked like a kid, that's for sure. I can remember seeing pictures of it. M. Hammer, welcome to the stream. Money's on Honeycutt. That's a bold pick. If given the speed, he could break through to victory lane at some point this season. And we saw Carson Hocevar win 4 races in that same equipment before. Ross Chastain was competitive last week in Nice Motorsport equipment at Homestead, leading laps at various times in the final stage. All right, lights are out on the pace car. Pace car is actually on pit road now. Corey Heim inside of row 1 will lead the field to the green, and we're underway. Night racing at Martinsville for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. And as Heim leads his way into turns 1 and 2, trying to pull clear on the truck to the outside of Ty Majeski, easily does so through the center of the corner. Top 4 truck single file down the back straightaway, settling in nicely at the front of the field. A little bit of a logjam in the back half of the top 10, right around Friesen and Mosack, bumping into one another. On the stop-and-go racetrack, going to see a lot of that throughout the course of the night, especially on restarts where everything is even more jammed together than what we'll see over longer green flag run periods. But even on longer green flag run periods, always going to be seeing drivers around somebody constantly, unless you're the race leader and you may be getting away with the lead like Corey Heim is already doing in these opening couple laps. Battle for second between Majeski and Honeycutt. Honeycutt gets to the inside of Majeski. Has been for a little over a lap now, before Majeski wins the battle, is able to pull clear in turns 3 and 4. Lap 3 coming to lap 4 at the line. And even after that failed pass attempt, Chandler Smith not able to capitalize and get underneath the Honeycutt yet either, though is right on his back bumper as they exit turn 2. So Heim from the pole's already out to a 1-second lead and has led the first 4 laps of the race. Garcia blocking the bottom on Roger Caruth. Charging hard on the outside, trying to make a pass on Caruth would be the 52 of Friesen, who's had a great start to the season so far after missing the playoffs a year ago. He's had a few top 10 finishes through the first 4 races already, including that runner-up at Atlanta by a nose to Kyle Busch in the second race of the season. William Byron, in the only Cup regular in the field tonight, is back in the 10th place position. Lost a couple positions off the start. Settled in. Kyle Larson led laps early in that same truck last weekend. Really didn't start to turn things on until the late going in that final stage, where he drove from the rear end of the lead lap, which would have been 23rd, all the way to the front of the field, following a spin which put him back there to begin with early in that final stage. 40 laps to go from the back to the front and get the win. A little bit of luck on his side with Corey Heim having the mechanical issues he did that dropped him out of the lead. Electrical issues of some sort with the truck shutting on and off on multiple occasions in the final 10 laps. Not saying he would have gotten there, or wouldn't have gotten there without the problems that Heim had, but it would have been a lot more difficult. Heim had lost a couple of seconds altogether between both of those instances happening, and he only finished about a second and a half off the lead at the end of the race. Just wonder what could have been. So Heim looking for redemption this week, and already been quick all day today leading up to the race, and now in the race itself, pulling away early. We'll have to wait and see if somebody that might have qualified a little further back can work their way up to the top 2-3 positions by the time the final stage starts, and see if they have any sort of competitiveness with that of Heim leading the way. William Wiley, welcome to the stream. Got Corey Heim pulling for a rookie. Understandable. Frank Powers, welcome to the stream also. Few drivers up 4 positions. Baldwin, Rhodes, Staropoli, who started at the very rear end of the field in 35th, also up 4 positions. No major movers so far, though. You're going to see that in only 12 laps at Martinsville. It's not easy to pass here. Seen some textbook bump and run so far, but respectable to say the least of what they've shown on camera during the FS1 broadcast. how short the race is. Obviously, the stages are even shorter. 50 laps in just stage 1 and 2. They're going to fly by here this evening, especially if we stay green for a large majority of it. 1.3 second lead for Ty Majeski over. Oh, got a spinner. Off turn 4. Our first guy getting dumped of the race. Might be first of many. Lap 14 is where the caution will take place. That was Corey Heim, the race leader, who had gotten into him. Roulette was about to go a lap down, and Corey Heim got into the back of him, spun him out off the exit of turn 4. A hit into the inside wall, but no major damage, so he should be able to continue. Definitely fall off the lead lap following the incident. If I had to guess, considering he was at the very tail end of the field about to get lapped, I would assume that Heim got back in the gas, not realizing how slow he was. Off the exit of turn 4. Roulette just wrong place for Heim's right time. Surprised that doesn't happen more. I've been to Martinsville once. I've been to Bristol numerous times, and especially when I watch the ARCA Truck Series take place there, where there's a lot more slower vehicles, even the Xfinity Series to a certain extent. There's a lot of drivers at the very back of the pack that they're going 10 laps down under green flag conditions throughout the course of the race. They're slow. They're in the way, and it's amazing that they don't get ran over more. Very easy to have an accident involving a lap car or one of the drivers at the front of the field just because of the speed difference alone catching them through the corner like we just saw with Heim and Roulette. Props to those guys running at the back of the pack that are able to stay out of trouble and stay out of everybody's way throughout the course of the race, because on a flat, tight racetrack like Martinsville, definitely not easy. It's a detriment to everybody. Yeah, light goal is 50 for tonight. I don't know where we're at right now. 30 already. Wow. Again, under caution. Lap 14 was the time of the yellow. Currently lap 16 of 50 in stage 1. Single truck spin. Ryan Roulette back end of the field. Off the front end of the leader, Corey Heim. No major damage, it looked like, on the 11 following the incident. He had a 1.3 second lead at the time of the crash. Very quick to catch lap trucks as well. Only 14 laps into the race. Again, 35 truck field tonight. One of the bigger fields we've seen for the Truck Series in a long while. Had just 31 of them at Vegas a couple weeks ago. Showing a replay of the Roulette and Heim difference of speed. It's kind of hard to tell by the graphics. I mean, clearly, Heim got into the back of him off the exit of the corner. He was trying to get into the gas at a spot where he felt he needed to get back into the gas, and because of how slow Roulette was going and still in his racing line, Roulette definitely got the worst end of the deal there. Like I said, no major damage on his truck. There is damage, but it's Martinsville. You can continue on with quite significant damage. Considering he was already at the back of the field anyway, I doubt it's going to really cost him on the speed side of things. I don't know how much slower that truck could get without failing to meet minimum speed, honestly. Oh, jeez. Yep, Dodge will be back in the Truck Series now. Lights are out on the pace car, meanwhile, and we will be going green this time by. Heim Majeski on the front row. Row 2 will be Honeycutt and Chandler Smith. Tanner Gray, Daniel Hemrick, row 3. Lane Riggs, Lawless Allen, row 4. William Byron will be back in row 5. Trying to work his way forward. 10th position at the time of the caution for Byron. All right, pace car pulls to pit road. Just as we had on the initial start, Heim and Majeski for the front row, and Heim will be on the inside yet again as well. Had a good launch and was able to clear off turn 2 on the opening lap. We'll see if he can do the same on the restart. Lap 20, green flag back in the air. Even better launch through the restart zone. He was clear getting into turn 1. Moves up a lane, though, to the outside a bit early. Caden Honeycutt almost got underneath the 11. Was still occupied, though, by the 98 to his outside. Couldn't get the drive off needed to stay with Heim. Heim leads the opening lap following the restart. And a little bit of door banging going on between the 45 and 98 as Honeycutt pulls clear for second. Majeski trying to crowd Tanner Gray, who tries to squeeze his nose in underneath him. And Majeski's starting to get freight train now. Handful of trucks on the outside lane just behind him, also moving backwards. Chandler Smith is up there, as well as Daniel Hemrick in the 19. Tanner Gray still nose-to-nose with the 98 of Majeski. Lane Riggs is up to 5th place just behind the two of them. Battling with his teammate still, Chandler Smith. He's got him clear. Smith still can't get to the bottom yet. Late block to try to move down in front of the 81 of Mosak. And now he's clear. Majeski, unfortunately, though, still on the outside. He's working hard, though, trying to somehow find a way to pull clear of the 15. Looked like Gray slid his tires a bit off of turn 4. Didn't get enough rear wheel bite. And Majeski nearly got him clear into turn 1, but then through 1 and 2, Gray much better on the bottom and regains the ground lost from the corner before. Now a little contact to the left rear corner panel of Majeski as he still holds tough. These two are losing ground from the two trucks that already were able to get out ahead of him. Majeski, who restarted outside of the front row, knows that he could be going backwards if he can't get this 15 cleared. Finally able to do it. That battle's over. And Lane Riggs gets turned now off the front bumper of Mosak. That was right behind where the battle for third was going on. Riggs was in the 5th place position, but now no longer the case.
Going around, you see all the Goodyear.
Zach might have got it.
Here it is here. That'll bring out the second
Ooh,
caution up.
just got sandwiched.
Lane Riggs.
Yeah, it was a tough call there. I don't know if there was a log jam because maybe the 4th place truck, I should say, Tanner Gray, got on the brakes too deep into the corner. There's nowhere for Riggs to go because he was practically on the back bumper of Tanner Gray as he was getting hit from Connor Mosak. Unfortunately, around went Lane Riggs, and after starting 7th and running 5th again at the time of the spin, Riggs now going to be at the tail end of the field. Last car in the lead lap, 34th, and Ryan Roulette, who brought out the first caution of the day, will get the free pass. Cody Dennison, by the way, got the free pass during the first incident involving Roulette. And now Roulette will get a lap back. I believe he fell 2 down during the caution for his spin, so I believe he's only going to be 1 lap down now. Stays on the lead lap to the end of the stage. He'll get that lap back as well. Aston Smichael, thanks for tuning in. Pulling for Lane Riggs. Ouch. Bad time to tune in. Hopefully he'll have a better go of it as the race progresses. It's not a very long race. So to come from the back to the front could be very, very difficult. Obviously still well out from the fuel window to make it to the end, but 2 early cautions. Lap 14 and lap 25. Single car spins. Both of the spins took place in turn 4 and or turns 3 and 4. That end of the track. Nothing down in 1 and 2 at least to record yet. No lead changes. Corey Heim has led every lap from the pole. 9 laps spent under the yellow. 27 total in the race complete. Ford racing fan, I'm right there with you. Considering that my favorite drivers have always coincidentally driven for Ford. And considering I own a Ford Mustang, I guess that makes me an honorary Ford lover. You know, there's probably a lot of Chevy fans watching that didn't like me saying that, but you know what? It is what it is. So our top 5 as of right now during the caution at lap 28 of 50 in stage 1 to this point. We got Corey Heim in the lead. Caden Honeycutt got to second on the last restart. Majeski held on for third after losing a spot to Honeycutt. Tanner Gray's in fourth. Connor Mosack fifth after spinning Riggs, who was in fifth. Chandler Smith sixth. Daniel Heinrich seventh. William Byron eighth. Raja Karuth is up to ninth after starting, I guess he started 10th. I was thinking of where he was in the point standings for a quick second. I was thinking he was back in around 19th. I guess he started right about where he's running. Save for Lawless Allen, who's only down one position from the start to 10th.
We're under caution for the second time in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Just before we went to break, this happened with Lane Riggs running fifth at the time.
He was up top and kind of cut toward the corner, and I think Connor Mosack was committed, and he ran in there and got into the side of Lane, turning him around. See right there. Probably just a miscommunication there, right, Joey?
Yeah, I mean, Lane did open the door a little bit.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you look at that replay, Mozak was getting pushed as well from Chandler Smith. So like, it's just a stack effect in there. And if you're not lined up bumper to bumper when you start stacking like that, someone's going to get dumped. And unfortunately, Lane took the bad end of that. I think because he left the door open a little bit.
Well, let's look at this 34 and make a note right now. On lap 28, he came to pit road, got those fresh tires. Now, if we run 10 laps and have a caution flag every 10 laps, he won't burn those tires up. Might he just stay out the rest of the way? I know it's outside of our fuel window, that's for sure. But under caution, it's 2-1 at least.
Right.
It might be worth a chance, huh?
He's got nothing to lose, right? So that's why they put him on. Well, why wouldn't you just put the set on and go for it? Now, a play for him possibly here with 20 laps to go in the stage. Everyone's going to have to pit at some point. If you keep staying out, you will cycle to the leader. So maybe it's just don't go down a lap here in this next 20 laps. Save your tires where you have something to race with possibly.
I've been hearing that a lot out of you guys. Let's just kind of take it easy until the stage ends, and then we'll go like heck.
Yeah. I mean, he's not going to get stage points at this point, right? So, and like I said, he'll cycle to the lead eventually.
Choosing time.
So now it's flipped around the other way. Honeycutt took the outside lane, and Majeski is now third. So that's the opposite of what they were in the last restart.
I love what you said about Majeski having problems on the short run. We know how good he's going to be on the long run. It'll be interesting with him taking the inside. Does that help him with this truck?
Yeah. And will he ever get a long run?
I was just going to say, we're 30 laps in. We've had 2 cautions already, and that includes the caution laps.
And we know this next run will not be a long run, right? 20 laps to go to the end of the stage. That's a short run at Martinsville. They go by really fast.
It's very crowded out there.
So good news for Lane Riggs. His truck is fine, no damage. Bad news is he's restarting 33rd. But Michael, to your point, he's going to put on a little bit of a show here.
Let's just make a note, see what happens with that.
All right. Couldn't mute it there. I'm struggling. I hit the button like 4 times. Corey Heim, inside row 1 for the leader. Yet again, green flag back in the air. Honeycutt outside of row 1 for the first time. Majeski going to try to get the spot back from the inside of row 2. Raja Karuth faked the move 3 wide to the bottom just outside the top 10. Heim clear off turn 2 on the restart just as he was the first 2 times as well. 19 laps to go in stage 1, 18 this time by at the line. Now it's Mosack getting jammed between the 15 and 98 on the inside in an accordion line. Nobody goes for a spin though this time around. Mosack actually picked up a spot as well, moving past Tanner Gray for 4th. Chandler Smith will move to 5th, also working by Gray, or at least attempting to on the outside. Gray was unable to make a pass on the inside lane on the 98 in the last restart, so we'll see if he can get the job done this time with Chandler Smith. Majeski, by the way, still in 3rd. Cycled in line just behind Honeycutt in front of Mosack. William Byron hanging out around 9th, right where he restarted. And Wallace Allen up a couple of positions to 8th place after originally being in 10th. Luke Baldwin, after starting deeper in the field from a poor qualifying effort despite being fastest in practice earlier this afternoon, is up to 20th in his Truck Series debut for Thor Sport Racing. Slow work through the field. Lane Riggs obviously restarting at the back of the pack following the spin From the 5th place position, Riggs is already up to 27th, getting by a few drivers at the tail end of the field. And Ryan Roulette, again, got the free pass, and he is back on the lead lap. I was unsure if he was 1 or 2 laps down based off the raw feed here on NASCAR.com, but he was 1 down, so he's back on the lead lap for the moment and looking to try to stay on the lead lap to the end of the stage. Though he had gotten caught the first time around, 14 laps into a green flag run, and we have 14 to go now. Race started with 19 to go, so there's a chance Heim's going to have to deal with lap traffic for the last few laps of the stage if it were to go green that far. See here, Rasger is 770. Thanks for tuning in. I think you tuned in right before the caution. Bradley Thomas, welcome to the stream as well. Got Ben Rhodes, Stuart Friesen battling on screen. 10th place battle between the 52 and the 99. Rhodes started back in row 10 in this one. Same with Grant Enfinger. Rhodes is up to 10th already, or right around there, where Enfinger's still back in 21st. So that's an interesting note there. Behind Fenhouse in practice was Ben Rhodes and Ty Majeski, so the ThorSport trucks were quick. Other than Corey Heim in the 11, who seemed to have the best long-run speed in the lap average categories. Hasn't had to deal with the long run so far today, but the short run speed's looking great as well. 1.2 second lead over Honeycutt. It was growing his lead out over Majeski when he was in second. Now even with Honeycutt in second, Honeycutt can't cut in to that number 11 truck's lead, and Heim continues to dominate. Coming into this race, Heim's already led the most laps so far this season, 129 laps led. Second closest would be Kyle Busch, who only ran 1 race at Atlanta. Busch led 81 laps that day. And honestly, with the laps led already here, Corey Heim, he might double his total. And then some. In this 1 race alone. Still early in the Truck Series season. We'll take a look at those point standings here since we didn't get through it in the pre-race. Corey Heim comes in as the points leader. No surprise there, considering he has won 2 of the first 4 races. And he's finished inside the top 10 in 3 of the 4. The only one he didn't, he got in a wreck in that season opener at Daytona. 3 top 5s along with the 3 top 10 finishes. Of course, 3rd place last weekend at Homestead on top of the 2 wins. And again, got in a wreck there in the... No, sorry, not the season opener at Daytona. He got in a wreck at Atlanta. 2nd race of the season. 1st race of the season at Daytona was one of his 2 wins. Needless to say, Ty Majeski came in only 8 points behind him in 2nd, still putting up a fight for the regular season championship. Both of them are former regular season champions, Heim and Majeski. Chandler Smith 3rd in points, minus 27, minus 28 for Grant Enfinger, who started mid-pack and still runs there, not looking at getting stage points at stage 1. Stuart Friesen 5th in points. I mentioned earlier, he's been impressive so far this season. Still only the super speedway top 10s, but he's scoring a lot of stage points and in a position to try to get another stage point in 10th as of right now, late in this first 50 laps. Daniel Hemrick, Lane Riggs, Jake Garcia, Caden Honeycutt round out the rest of the top 10. Only 10 drivers qualified for the truck playoffs at the end of the regular season. 18 races in the regular season. Remember, there are 2 more truck races this year than we've seen in recent years, as the schedule has been expanded to 25 races this season versus 23 in recent years past. And 2 drivers trying to finish inside the top 10 for each of the first 5 races this year. They're 4 for 4 so far. That's Chandler Smith and Grant Enfinger. Again, Enfinger in trouble at least early. A lot of time left. Obviously going to make at least 1 pit stop today. Trying to make some adjustments along the way and get that truck quicker than what it's looking like early. Because he's been passed by several trucks who have qualified behind him or right around him and definitely can't seem to keep up in traffic. Two laps to go in the stage. 1 lap left now in the stage. Still a 2.5 lead for Corey Heim. I believe it's going to be Heim time yet again. 2 for 4 of my truck picks so far this season. The only 2 I've lost were both of the times that Corey Heim won. And I didn't feel very confident about William Byron's chances of winning this race just because I didn't really see the speed out of practice and qualifying from him compared to what I saw in Kyle Larson during the Homestead practice qualifying session leading up to the race. I didn't get to watch it live like I did last week because I was at work earlier today, but still able to go on and get the dub. Is Corey Heim, that is, not William Byron. Stage 1 winner, leading all 50 laps from the pole. No contest so far for Corey Heim as he picks up another early season stage win, third of the year. Caden Honeycutt finishes second in the stage. Ty Majeski third. Connor Mosak fourth. Tanner Gray fifth. Chandler Smith sixth. Daniel Hemrick seventh. Lawless Allen eighth. William Byron ninth. And Stuart Friesen rounds out the top 10. Again, all receiving stage points in stage 1. 1 point per position and a playoff point for Heim, as well as the 10 regular season points towards that regular season title. Only expands his points lead by 2 during that stage to Majeski, who came in 8 points behind him. So now the lead is 10 points between the top 2 in the standings entering stage 2. Dad rides a Harley. Welcome to the stream. Going to see the truck race home track Lime Rock. That's pretty cool that you get to see a home track showing up as a standalone event. It's a unique experience. I was able to see the trucks once at Mid-Ohio. That was when Parker Kligerman won there a couple of years ago, which would have been the last truck race at Mid-Ohio, I do believe. Saw an Xfinity Series race there at one point as well. I also saw the trucks race at Eldora back when they were running there. Which, looking back on it, I believe it was the last race there, 2019. Because they haven't raced at Eldora since COVID. So I saw the last truck race at Mid-Ohio and the last one at Eldora. So if they race in the state of Ohio again, going forward, I probably shouldn't go. Because then they're just not going to race there again. I'll ruin it for everybody. Sid Vick, Ace Alshire, welcome to the stream. Good evening. Great broadcast. Appreciate it. Stage 1 has just concluded. We'll take our first break of this stream while we're waiting for them to come back from the commercial. And we'll have our first sets of pit stops, I'm sure of it, for most of the field shortly. Listening live to the Boys and Girls Club of the Blue Ridge 200 at Martinsville for the Craftsman Truck Series. No, I did not go to the last one at Mansfield. That would have made me 3 for 3. No, I never got to go there. Coincidentally, that would have been the one that was the closest to where I live, too. But no, because I didn't go to my first NASCAR race until I went to the August Michigan race of 2015. Went for my 16th birthday. My grandpa took me. The weekend of my 16th birthday. I didn't actually land on my birthday. My birthday was during that week, but still, it was my birthday present there. So I was always racing on the weekends growing up myself, so I never went to any NASCAR races, even when they were local. It just kind of worked, the one year that I had an off week, that weekend of my birthday, while I was racing, and Michigan was there, so Grandpa took me for 16th birthday.
So the motor is running now. So they're going to take all the tape off of that front grill, as well as the wedge, track bar, and air adjustment for loop. Bottom adjustments, you see the wedge wrench right there. Project for loop. A lot of adjustments here.
Joey, wedge, track bar, and air pressure for Baldwin. I mean, that's all you got.
Everything you can do.
That's all you got for changes, though. Obviously not very happy with this truck. So the majority of the leaders,
Most of our top 10.
Michael, yeah, they all stayed out, which means they're probably going to try to get the stage points here in the second stage. These trucks here are either going to move forward with their new tires in the second stage, or this might possibly be the one and done, where it's fit once, forget about it. We're going to try to cycle ourselves to the front and maintain.
Best way to be able to maintain track position for those drivers that have pitted now, don't plan on pitting again the rest of the race because they can make it on fuel with caution laps, is that this second stage gets a lot of caution laps. So that way they don't use up as much of their tires. If it goes green for 40 plus laps, that's where they're going to be at a detriment to those who will pit at the end of stage 2. Though the only one that I feel confident is going to have the speed to get to the front of the field fairly quick would be Corey Heim. And even then, it's going to take some time, especially if we see a lot of yellows in stage 3, because that's going to eat into the amount of green flag laps that's necessary for him to go from, let's say, like a 20th place on a restart to get to the front of the field. There hasn't really been any big movers in this race, largely due to the fact that we have had, even though it was only 2 cautions during the course of the first stage, they still ran for nearly 15 caution laps. 35 green flag laps on a half-mile short track's not a lot of time to try to make passes. Especially at Martinsville when it takes a couple laps to make a pass at a time once you get alongside somebody. And to get alongside the next person, it takes about that much time, if not longer. Earl went to Mansfield, missed the last race by a year. At least you got to check it out. I was actually talking to an old timer from my work. He said he went to a truck race at Mansfield. Said when he went, it was caution every 3 laps. I was like, well, nothing's changed. Short tracks in the Truck Series. It's been that way for decades now. More things change around the sport. One thing that won't, Truck Series short track racing, there's going to be a lot of yellows. 3 of them already today. Granted, our third one's a stage break, but based off of how the first 2 went during relatively short green flag runs, we probably weren't long away from the next yellow anyway.
Is heading to Bristol. Tickets for the MLB Speedway Classic presented by BuiltSubmarines.com are on sale now. Witness history as the Atlanta Braves face off against the Cincinnati Reds, Mikey, and that is where you were.
Oh, what a day. I got to be in the parade. I was an honorary grand marshal, walked out and shared the lineup with the other team. So much energy, so much excitement, not only for the Reds season this year, but for this event. I mean, they're going to put a baseball diamond on the Bristol Motor Speedway.
I kind of forgot about that.
.com to learn about how to get tickets, but what an event it's going to be.
Oh, it's going to be awesome, right? I mean, what a incredible stadium Bristol is, right? I mean, the racetrack is incredible, but the fact that you can hold so many people in there and do a lot of different things in there is so neat. The last great Coliseum.
It's the last great Coliseum. I was just going to say, so I was there when they announced the whole deal. They had a couple of the players come out and they had the diamond kind of drawn up so you could get a feel for it. I'm like, this is pit road right here, and they're going to be playing baseball. Pretty cool. And neat for you, Michael, that you got to be there on opening day.
Yeah, the energy for the Reds this year with Terry Francona being their new manager and a lot of great players have joined the team, and it's going to be a great season for the Reds. It's been a while since they've been to the World Series or the playoffs. Maybe they can straighten it all out this year.
Pretty cool the things that they've done, especially at Bristol Motor Speedway. Football game, they brought in dirt for a dirt race. Now they're going to have a baseball game.
Do it all. I love it. So we got a restart coming up here. The majority of trucks have stayed out, so they're going to be on their 50 lap race.
The top 11 stayed out, so from 12th on back is where the tires start. So I don't expect them to just charge through this first 10, do you?
I don't believe so. I mean, the tires are going to be helpful, no doubt, but you're going to have room to use those tires. And if it's stacked 2 by 2 by 2, how are you going to make any time? So once a single file's out, look for those guys with the tires that start moving forward.
So Corey Heim on the inside, Kate Honeycutt on the outside. Heim has led every lap so far in this race.
Maybe that's why he stayed out. He's going for the record. Lead them all.
So you have that black truck there on the outside behind the white number 7. That's Briggs, and you called it, oh, no, a bit sideways there. You called it 2 by 2. Things are stacked up.
But you get this 5, 6, 7 laps, it starts to single out, and then those trucks with the tires, they're going to start moving. Their air pressures will start coming up, and that grip, they got more grip. There's no doubt. I don't know how much tire fall off there is, but they're going to have a little bit newer tires for sure, and that's going to help them.
Well, I'll tell you one fact. In lap 34, Corey Heim ran the fastest lap of this race on 34 lap tires. Granted, many of those were caution, but he still ran his fastest lap that late into the run. Oh, Louise' job.
You know, if there was contact there with Raja Caruth and Lane.
Look at them stacked up.
So remember, Lane Riggs, now he pitted on lap 27 or 28. So he's got a little bit newer tires than the trucks he's trying to catch, but he also has brand new tires on all the trucks directly behind him.
Daniel Hemrick battling Chandler Smith on the right for 6th.
We see Willie B squeezing into the top 10, making his presence known.
Talked about him since the start of the race.
Well, we might have to call him back up, put some more pressure on him.
Give him time. Give him time. Willie is one of those drivers that just kind of like just hangs and next thing you know, like, huh, he's gonna win. You know, like it's just one of those very below the radar, just runs his race. But it works for him.
Rich Baldwin in the 66 doing a great job. Came down pit road, got those tires. He's in 14th right now. First one on new tires.
This kid's impressive. He started this afternoon in practice. So much speed. And now he's worked his way up toward the top 10. I like what I'm seeing, Joey.
Yeah, like I can carry that speed on the exit like that, right on the back bumper of Ben Rhodes. And that's his teammate. And, you know, he's young. And how hard do I push? What do I do? Can't open the door too much when someone's too close to you, right? Raja Cruz saw that opportunity and said, hey, you know, maybe I can keep a spot here if you're going to open the door like that.
I think maybe Luke laid off the 99 after he bumped him, and then he gets run into. That's Martinsville, isn't it? You just breathe it for a second, you're going to have company.
You can't waste too much time through the field. You gotta go, right? When you catch someone, you gotta try to pass them as quickly as possible, because once they get stacked on you all the way back, you can't move up the racetrack to try to gain a run to get underneath them on the exit, and it makes the pass even harder. So if you can do it quickly when you first get there, life's a lot easier.
And that Mira is hard here. You know,
Mira?
it's just such a quick run down that front straightaway. You got to really focus on what's ahead of you. And so if you got
Sounded like Dale Jr.
That's very difficult.
See Matt Gold in the 44 making this his 3rd truck start. His dad is Phil Gould, who is the crew chief for Kane the Honeycutt, his teammate, that's running 2nd right now. So the family dynamic, what a nice kid. Talked to Matt earlier. He's in the shop all the time, learning slowly how to build these trucks, how to respect the trucks, Joey. So when he gets that opportunity behind the wheel, he has so much knowledge.
I don't know about if my dad was my crew chief. I know he's not, but he's on another thing. But you imagine if it was a father-son crew chief driver duo? I know that happens a lot as kids grow up, right? As you're racing with your dad going to the racetrack. But once you get to this level, that would be I mean, I love my dad. I think it would change a lot though. We have to work together.
What about the 66 truck? He got around Ben Rhodes, and now he's putting the move on the 7 of Corey Day. Kaylin, this thing is rolling.
It certainly is, and I had a chance to talk with him earlier today just about making his Truck Series debut. He said, I'm living out a childhood dream. I grew up watching races here, was a fan of this place just like everyone else, but he said, I've also had a lot of good people in my corner who've been helping me learn the tricks of Martinsville. His teammate Ty Majeski, as well as former Cup Series champion Ryan Blaney, have been some of the drivers helping Luke this weekend. Jimmy?
Yeah, Luke doing a great job. As you were talking, Caitlin, he picked up that 12th spot, so he is doing nothing but going forward, doing all things right so far.
You brought up Ryan Blaney. He has such a relationship with the Baldwin family through the Blaney family, giving Ryan an opportunity early in his career driving one of Tommy's Xfinity cars. Dave drove for Tommy. Michael and I were laughing before the race that We think Luke was just a baby when Ryan made his first Cup start. You know, I think he's 3 or 4 years old, so it's kind of crazy to see all this happen.
It was neat seeing Ryan down there talking to Luke before the start of the race.
It's got to put a big smile on Blaney's face, seeing the success he's having in this race. See, battle between Matt Crafton, Jack Wood. There's Blaney.
There's Luke. Look at that smile. Talking to Blaney.
Guys.
It's been a long day for this young man. The garage opened at 9 this morning. All the drivers and teams came in, and then they had practice, qualifying, had time to think about it for a few hours, and then here we are racing. So, long day for this young man. Corey Hyde, meanwhile, about a 2.5 lead over Caden Honeycutt. He's led every lap. We're going to step aside. You won't miss a thing.
So 3 cautions so far in the race, 2 for incident. They both took place in Stage 1. Stage 2 has gone caution-free since its restart beginning just over 20 laps ago now. 21 laps to go in the stage, lap 80 of 200 overall in the race. Corey Heim is the race leader. He's led every lap from the pole. He was obviously the Stage 1 winner as well. Got his 3rd stage win of the season. Ran his fastest lap and the fastest lap of the race overall at lap 34, a 20.268. Even with staying out of the pits during that last caution, having the clean air, clean track position, he still put down a great lap. Caden Honeycutt, who sits in second, is 1.4 seconds off the lead. Ty Majeski is 2.3 seconds back at third. Connor Mosack fourth. Tanner Gray fifth. Daniel Hemrick is in 6th place. 7th for Chandler Smith. William Byron 8th. 9th for Lawless Allen. Stuart Friesen rounds out the top 10. 11th for Tyler Ankrum. Luke Baldwin 12th. Raja Cruz 13th. Corey Day 14th. And Ben Rhodes 15th. 16th, Matt Gold, Lane Riggs 16th after a spin earlier in the race, so he's recovering fairly quick. Matt Gold is in 17th behind him. Jack Wood 18th, Matt Crafton 19th, and Andres Perez in 20th. Gio Ruggiero 21st, Matt Mills 22nd, Jake Garcia 23rd, Grant Enfinger 24th, Dawson Sutton 25th, Tony Breidinger 26th, Patrick Staropoli 27th, Spencer Boyd 28th, Frankie Muniz 29th, Justin Carroll is the last truck currently on the lead lap in 30th. Nathan Bird and Coney Dedison a lap down in 31st and 32nd. Ryan Roulette, who had that incident earlier, 13 laps down, but I believe is still on track. And then AJ Waller pulled off the racetrack 25 laps ago. He is out, and same for Norm Benning 42 laps ago, pulled off track. And he will end up being last and 35th if he does not return. So that is our full field running order here for the Craftsman Truck Series race at the Martinsville Speedway. We'll take another quick break. You're listening live on KRC to the action. Bam Hall, welcome to the stream also. 15 laps to go in Stage 2 where we pick things up post-commercial break on Fox Sports 1. Bit of a moment for Grant Enfinger in the 9 who was trying to make a pass on the 17 of Ruggiero. Got a bit loose after slight contact corner exit for turn 2 the last lap. Enfinger's still back in 22nd. He qualified in row 10, started around 19th, 20th. Hasn't moved up or down in this race. He stayed right put. A lot of drivers have been able to make passes around him. Lane Riggs started deep in the field towards the beginning of Stage 2 following a spin late in Stage 1. Off the front bumper of Connor Mosack while running 5th. Luke Fenhouse started behind him in the race. He's, not Luke Fenhouse. He usually drives a 66. Luke Baldwin, the other Luke that drives a 66, is currently up to 12th. Also one of the bigger movers of the event. Ben Rhodes started in the same row as Enfinger. And although he hasn't been in the top 10 yet today, he has gotten as high as 11th, is where he ended up at the end of Stage 1, just behind Friesen, who got the final stage point earlier. And coincidentally enough, Friesen is still in 10th, looking for the final stage point of Stage 2, the way things are going also. Haven't seen a lot of movement through the field, though, inside the top 10. A lot of movement outside of it. Curious to see if anybody breaks up there for the first time, or maybe the second time for the case of Lane Riggs. So they're able to make some noise in the final stage. Especially if most of them end up staying out of the pits during the Stage 2 caution. knowing that they might be able to make it on fuel, and we haven't seen that much tire fall off to this point. Again, Corey Heim ran his fastest lap of the race at lap 34 on the same set of tires he started the race with. And they still had roughly, up to that point, 20 green flag laps on them. Considering that this has gone green the entirety of Stage 2, they're going to have about 40-plus laps of green flag action. So it might lead to a little bit more tire wear. And this is definitely not what you wanted to see if you were somebody that did pit, hoping to stay out at the end of Stage 2, because the likelihood of hanging on to the lead or up at the front of the field on some of the faster drivers who would have fresh tires, I think that's going to be the big difference maker here. Haven't seen hardly anybody that restart on fresh tires crack the top 10. Baldwin's in 11th, and he's the highest running of which that pitted during the Stage 1 caution.
Here you go with this is your weakness starts to show up on the long haul, and it starts to snowball as well. Right? Whatever happens in your truck, if you're fighting tight or you're fighting loose, as the run goes, it's just the conditions will get worse and worse and worse. And the trucks that handle it best and the drivers that can manage that the best will start to migrate to the front. You see the rubber starting to lay down the racetrack here as well, starting to lay down a good amount of rubber.
We have a nice long green flag going here. Not typically something we see, as time has told us. The average is what, 10 green flag laps before a caution?
Oof.
We were hitting that average right on it, so this was
So far, this is only the second time we've been caution-free at Martinsville in Stage 2. So you're seeing something unique here. As there you see Grant Enfinger battling with Gio.
Grant kind of did him a favor right there. Gio really kind of squeezed it down there and wanted to be able to get clear to get down, and Grant, I think, realizes he's not having the best of days, and he doesn't want to make it line, and he's like, oh.
You're not missing anything up front. Corey Heim continues to lead. 96 laps and counting. There he is right there. This is the most laps he's ever led in a truck race in 69 starts. Surprising, considering I feel like he's had so many dominating performances.
No kidding.
Cody there in the pop truck riding her. She's just now gone a lap down, been competitive in this race. She's currently the first truck a lap down. If Corey doesn't get anyone else, she'll come the free pass.
Yeah, and we talked about this, as we get to 3 to go, come to 2 to go in the stage. Corey Heim, looks dominant right now. Got a nice 2.5 second lead. I don't think all these trucks are going to pit, and he's going to have to pit. And he's going to get buried into the pack, and then what has that truck got in it? Can he keep it in one piece? Because the patience are going to be out the window. The bumping and banging will just continue to become more and more. Can he keep it in one piece?
Matt Mills like seeing that. He threw a bit of a pick there on Heim. Oh, no. Tony Breidinger pulling for Matt Mills, that 42, not to go a lap down, so she will get the free pass. See if Matt can hold off Corey.
Final lap of Stage 2, and Corey Heim picks up the win. This is the fourth straight Martinsville race. The drivers swept Stages 1 and 2, and the last 3 went on to win the race. So everything is coming up roses so far for the man we call Time.
So far, it's been that time. 100 laps led in the first 100 laps for Corey Heim. From the pole, he's dominated. I mean, clearly has the quickest truck in the field. Nobody's competed with him, at least of anybody that's been up towards the front. The only person who might be able to compete with him, from what I've seen, that we have not seen at the very front of the field yet, is Lane Riggs, who drove from the rear end of the lead lap in Stage 2 to 13th. And a lot of the drivers he was racing around would have had equal tires as him, so I don't know how much of it was the fresh tire advantage necessarily. And I would assume if Riggs stays out of the pits here, which he might do, that he's going to have a pretty good opportunity to restart up on the front row with Luke Baldwin if he also chooses to stay out, who pitted during the last caution, which would have been the Stage 1 yellow. So Stage 2 goes caution-free, just over 40 laps green from the restart. I believe it was lap 8 of the stage, so they would have went 43 laps of green flag action, by far the longest green flag run of the race. And again, only 2 yellows for incident back at stage 1. Just past halfway, 24 laps under the caution and counting, and just under 50 minutes total time in this race, flying by here on this Friday night, under the lights, short track racing. Can't get much better than that. We'll continue our live commentary coverage again. You're listening on KRC to the Boys and Girls Club of the Blue Ridge 200. And at 74 votes, we're going to end our chat poll, which closes at the end of stage 2 during these live commentary streams. 33% of those votes taking Corey Heim for the win today. He was my pick as well to win this race. And he clearly has the fastest truck, sweeping the stages. 3rd and 4th stage wins of the year for Heim. And he has already led over 100 laps, leading them all from the pole until he pits and surrenders the lead for the first time. We'll see if he can get it back once he is back in traffic for these restarts, which we know are very treacherous in the Truck Series at a track like Martinsville. Other had 28% of the votes in the chat poll, 21% taking William Byron, who has not yet cracked the top 5 tonight, and Ty Majeski, who's been either 2nd or 3rd for most of the race, 3rd at the end of stage 2 for Majeski. In contention, if he can just keep his truck up there towards the front of the field, in front or right around Heim. Somebody gets into Heim on a late race restart, he can be there for the taking. We've seen that happen time and time again. You got to put yourself in the right place at the right time for an opportunity for like that to strike, because it's not going to happen from running further back than that. Maybe on a super speedway, but even then that would take quite a bit of luck. Yeah, definitely be sure to hit the like button. We are closing in on our goal, which was only 50 coming into the stream. We're at 47 as we're just getting into the second half of the race.
Gotta love the triple header weekend here at Martinsville. Today has been awesome. Perfect weather for the Truck Series. And just like that, we are halfway into the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. It's been all about Corey Heim, and he's going to have to pit here with 96 laps to go. Pit road should be open next time by.
And this is the setup. This is the setup for the rest of the race. What are other teams and crew chiefs willing to do for strategy to beat the 11 of Corey Heim? He's been unstoppable. You can't let him be in the lead anymore. You've got to give him a challenge because he is dominant right now.
Let's see how many people follow him to pit road as they make their way down the back straightaway. There goes Heim down low.
One question mark is Lane Riggs. He had pitted on lap 27 after he went around, so just he pit. Pit road is open. They're coming your way, Caitlin.
Yeah, Ty Majeski pretty frustrated on the radio saying, I need everything. Turn in the center, security on throttle. As crew chief Joe Shear Jr. said, we just missed it a bit here today. They're making adjustments to track bar, 4 tires, and fuel. Danny Hunt was second in both stages so far, saying, I got tight at the end of the run in those last 10 laps. Air pressure adjustments with 55 time.
38 of Chandler Smith. He said he needs some help with that truck as well. Needs more turn in the corner and more drive, so they're going to help him out with some adjustments. As for Corey Heim, who has swept the stages so far, said in traffic that truck is way too hot, and plus it got tight as the rubber laid down. They're going to free him up just a tad with the wedge up.
Waiting on fuel. The 11 truck.
He'll win the race off pit road. A couple guys stayed out.
Beauty of being in that number 1 pit box.
Yeah, I gotta be honest, a lot more trucks pitted here than I thought would. I'm not sure how many stayed out yet, but it definitely looks like Heim's not gonna be buried that much.
We'll sort things out as we step aside. Corey Heim, 1 stage remaining. Can he pick up his 3rd win of the season?
Trying to go 3 for 5. Still the only truck regular to win a race so far and lock themselves into the playoffs early in the Truck Series season. Who's going to beat this guy? If a Cup regular doesn't come in like Kyle Busch and Kyle Larson have done so far this season, who's going to beat this guy at the Truck Series level this season? The first one to do so, it's going to feel like an upset, no matter where it's at or how the race goes. He could wreck out on lap 1. It'll feel like an upset if somebody other than Corey Heim wins at this rate. Zachary Powers, welcome to the stream, as well as many others that are tuning in. We have hit our like goal of 50 so far for the stream already. Greatly appreciate that, everybody. But still be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. Subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. Just over 50% of viewers on the channel in the last month are not subscribed. So appreciate you tuning into these streams every weekend. But be sure to hit that subscribe button as we are getting closer to 6,000. Trying to get to 5,900 here within the next 24 hours. As of right now, we're 11 subscribers away from 5,900. That'll give us 100 to go to get to 6,000. We can definitely do that this weekend with ease. We should be able to get there. I'd like to think we'll probably end up getting there tomorrow. It'd be cool if we got there tonight, though. Just saying. It's free. Roger Carruth will be the leader on the restart. He stayed out. Matt Craftsman also stayed out. We'll probably restart in the front row with him. Jack Wood, Gio Ruggiero in row 2. Grant Enfinger, Jake Garcia around row 3. Dawson Sutton inside of row 4. And then Corey Hyman, 8th place, will be the first driver on 4 fresh tires. Lane Riggs took 2 tires, gained 7 positions on pit road, 13th right where he finished the last stage, but again, the top 7 stayed out, so he was actually 6th off of pit road. This is technically our first lead change of the day. Heim loses the lead for the first time during pit stops, in the middle of stage 2. And so now Roger Carruth is out leading the way. How long will it be before Corey Heim can find himself at the front of the field if, again, he stays clear of trouble being in the back half of the top 10, especially here on the restart? Bang with Logano, not like that. Oh boy. Our start times for the rest of the weekend will look like this. I have it up in the community tab on a couple of different posts already, but I'll reiterate it right here on the stream quickly before we get this next stage underway. Tomorrow's live streams, again with an S at the end of it, plural, we will have 2 live commentary streams. NASCAR Cup Series practice and qualifying will start at 2 p.m. Eastern on the channel tomorrow afternoon, and then we'll follow that up with our NASCAR Xfinity Series race stream, which will be taking place at 5 p.m. Eastern in the evening hour. Starting in the late daylight, might end into the night, depending on how many cautions they get in that 250-lap race. As far as the Cup race, that will be Sunday afternoon. Our pre-race will begin at 2:30 p.m. Eastern. Last thing to go through before we get the green flag for this next restart, I've got a Greg Biffle diecast. Earl, you were talking about him in the chat, being the pace car driver at Darlington here in a couple weeks. Well, I was going to show off a Greg Biffle diecast for the stream today. Reason I was going to show one off is because I actually showed a Biffle diecast last week too. Figured I'd stay on that trend. Give off another Truck Series champion diecast. This is obviously a Cup Series car. It's from the 2012 season. It's 3M Ford Fusion at the time. I almost said Mustang. I've been used to that now. It's been a Mustang for, since 2019? It's been a while. But Fusion before that. And again, this is from 2012 with the car of tomorrow, spoiler version of the COT. Last year of the COT as well. Probably one of my favorite, and probably my favorite Greg Biffle 3M scheme that he had. He had some good ones over the year. I feel like the 3M cars just look slick on that number 16. Something about the number 16 font on it too. The red stripes going across the roof on the side of it. I like it. Basic. Simple, but effective. I'm easy to please when it comes to paint schemes, more often than not. Probably because I'm colorblind. Needless to say, green flag is back in the air. Stage 3 underway. Roger Carruth gets a great launch on the restart, as well as a little bit of a rear wheel spin for Matt Craftsman in the 88. Struggled to get going initially. He is clear for second off turn 2, though, on Jack Wood. First time we've seen Grant Enfinger up in the top 5. He's trying to keep a top 10 streak alive. 26 and Dawson Sutton finds himself 3 wide middle. Nowhere to go but to stack up William Byron and maybe a little contact with Lane Riggs off the exit of turn 4. He's still going backwards and can't get out of harm's way. Whoever on the pressured tires gets stuck behind him, just wrong place at the wrong time. Sutton's in trouble. He'll probably settle in here quickly. The longer we get into this run, the tires are going to even out eventually. Oh, Baldwin sideways in turns 1 and 2, and he goes for a spin. Oh, tough break. He was having a great day. He was 12th at the end of the last stage, 11th actually, at the end of stage 2. He is going to be able to stay on the lead lap, thankfully, but spin, he was on the bottom of that 3-wide battle. Had the 7 of Corey Day underneath him. He was on the curbing, getting into the corner. It's hard to tell if he drove it in too deep or if Day didn't give him enough room and didn't realize he was there. Two rookies getting together there. Day made a couple of starts last season on a part-time effort and a couple of them so far this season as well. Relatively new to the asphalt racing world. Phenom in the dirt racing side of things. Getting in a little bit of a tangle with Luke Baldwin. And Baldwin goes for a spin, and that's very unfortunate being in the final stage like it is right now. Going to have right around 80 laps to go in the restart. Lane Riggs was able to get up to 13th, but that took him 40, 50 laps to do so. I think Fenhouse can definitely get... I keep saying Fenhouse. I keep getting the Lukes mixed up. I'm used to Fenhouse being in the 66, so the fact that we have another Luke in the car this weekend. Luke Baldwin. 29th. It's the last car in the lead lap. By the way, Tony Breidinger got the free pass at the end of stage 2. I didn't mention that yet. And a couple other trucks took the wave around. I believe Frankie Muniz, Spencer Boyd, and Staropoli all took the wave around behind Breidinger. They got the quick caution they needed. They can pit for tires now. They can top off on fuel. They'll be good to go to the end. Now that they got their quick caution needed to stay on the lead lap. Free pass this time around in the 30th place position is going to go to Justin Carroll in the number 90 truck. 5th caution of the race, our first one of stage 3. This race is too short, yeah. Yeah, the Truck Series races on short tracks are just, I mean, they're so short. Honestly, the stage racing makes it a little longer just because there's extra cautions. So it kind of lengthens it just a bit. I think the truck race last year was like an hour and 20 minutes at Bristol. There were barely any cautions. It flew by. This one is pacing to be done in well less than 2 hours. Yeah, Fenhouse looked like he drove it in there a little too deep. He was barely on the inside of Day getting into the corner. He charged the corner a little late. He had room behind him not to do that. Tough to say for sure if he was stuck behind Dave for several laps and then was getting restless. But it definitely looked like he got in there a little too hot. Combination of the contact and bouncing wildly off the curb turned that 66 truck around. We'll see what kind of recovery he'll have. That last restart, Corey Heim, by the way, was able to go from 8th to 4th in just a couple laps. Only Carruth, Crafton, and Wood, of those who stayed out during the Stage 2 break, remain in front of Corey Heim, who has led over 100 laps and didn't lose the lead outright until that pit stop in the middle of Stage 2 after winning the first 2 stages from the pole, leading over the first 100 laps consecutively. And again, he did restart in 8th. Through the choose rule this time. Somebody got in the back of Friesen, I believe, on that last restart, because it looks like the back bumper of his truck has quite a bit of damage. That right rear's corner panel specifically is flared out quite a bit. Friesen running mid-pack after finishing 10th in stages 1 and stage 2. Top 10 for the restart. You got Raja Carruth in the lead, Matt Craft in second, Jack Wood third, Corey Heim 4th, Grant Enfinger 5th, Ty Majeski 6th, Gio Ruggiero 7th, Caden Honeycutt 8th, Chandler Smith 9th, Connor Mosak will be in 10th. As the pace car hits pit road yet again, 81 laps to go in the restart. Carruth inside row 1 again. Can Crafton get a better launch this time? He spun his tires pretty bad on the last restart. Seen the inside lane truck pull clear through 1 and 2 every restart so far today. First it was Heim, and now it's Caruth. Heim outside of row 2 behind Matt Crafton. Holds clear on Enfinger. Quick move to the bottom 3 wide. Heim's not wasting any time. Charges deep into the corner to get by Jack Wood in the 91. Now he's inside of the veteran Crafton for second place off turn 4. He went 3 wide to the bottom. He got 1 immediately. The other he's still battling for. Now he clears Crafton through turns 1 and 2. Majeski trying to make a pass on the outside of Jack Wood. Wood being on the bottom is definitely stacking up that inside line quite a bit. Saw Gio Ruggiero get bounced around. Lane Riggs back in the top 10 into position number 10. Few trucks back of where this battle's going on between the 91 and 98. Although Majeski pulls clear. Has his eyes set on the 2 trucks in front of him that are not named Corey Heim for the moment that he probably could pass on speed. Caruth under duress from the fastest truck in the field, Corey Heim. Led that last lap, but he's probably not going to lead this lap. Heim clear off turn 4, 76 to go. He's back out in front, our second lead change of the race. And the second different time that Corey has led. Big tire rub on Jack Wood's left side. Can't tell if it's the left front or the left rear. There's a lot of damage. He got pinched into the wall a couple corners ago. And got beat by a couple trucks in the bypass on the back straightaway. It's the left front that's smoking on the Jack Wood 91 machine. That's quite a big tire rub. Restarted towards the front of the field. He was outside 3 wide on the 9 and the 38. There's no room to go 3 wide in Martinsville. Pinched up against the wall. He didn't really give a lot of room to the 2 trucks underneath him in the middle of the corner. He's fighting desperately to get down to the bottom, but that's the price you pay not having as good of a truck and being out towards the front of the field and older tires. Not a great combination to try to hold on to things, and not only that, but stay out of people's way so an issue like that doesn't happen. Because if he pits under green, he's going to pull a couple laps down, like I mentioned already. Very few positions he's going to be able to pick up from now to the end of the race if it continues. .2-second lead already for Corey. Tom Majeski has gotten through into second. Raja Caruth is still in third for the moment, 1.7 seconds off the lead. Caden Honeycutt's up to fourth, 2.2 seconds back. Chandler Smith is now in fifth, making a pass on Matt Crafton, who's sixth. Chandler Smith, 3.2 seconds back in the line, 3.3 back for Crafton. 4.1 seconds off the lead for Gio Ruggiero in seventh. Grant Enfinger still in the top 10, eighth at 5 seconds off the lead. 5.6 seconds back for Daniel Hemrick in ninth. William Byron on the restart back to the top 10 in 10th. He's also 5.8 seconds behind the leader, Heim. I'm surprised that Byron hasn't been more competitive tonight. I didn't pick him for the win, obviously, because I just didn't feel as confident maybe coming into the weekend as I felt about him, but he hasn't been top 5 at all this entire race. I don't even think he's cracked 6th yet. 7th, 8th, kind of flip-flopping on restarts back at stage 1 is as high as Byron's been. Qualified 13th. He's running better than that slightly, but staying out of trouble too, I guess. Tim Irvin, Tim Fowler. 2 Tims. Welcome to the stream. Got just over 100 people in the chat. Greatly appreciate that. Might be one of our most viewed Truck Series streams of the season. Everybody loves Martinsville, don't we? Good old short track racing, man. It doesn't get a lot better than this. Well, most nights I would say that that's not the case with the truck race. There's still 68 laps for this to go by the wayside. But as of right now, it's been a traditional short track race and beating and banging and nothing overboard. I mean, you're going to have that. We still have time for tempers to flare. And only thing about tonight, it's been the Corey Heim show. Utter dominance. How many laps did Raja Caruth lead while he was out in front? 17. On pit strategy. which could end up working out well for Carruth if he remains where he's running right now. Best thing for Raja is this thing stays green for a long time. Survives the restarts. Him running in 5th, he was pretty much mired back just outside the top 15 for most of this race. He could end up getting a good finish with this pit strategy. Matt Craftsman, too, up in 6th, who has had some pretty good runs on short tracks in recent years despite the lack of success on the bigger ovals when it comes to getting good, consistent finishes. Be a max points day too for Corey Heim. I don't know if anybody's gotten a max points day yet with the new format. Only addition to the points format we've had in recent years is the fact you get an extra bonus point for the fastest lap. I don't think anybody's had the fastest lap and won both stages in the race so far in any of the top 3 series. Heim would have been close last week at Homestead, but then his electrical issues costed him there. But this week, barring any electrical issues late, might be more of the same. Like I said, we still could get a late race caution and overtime restart, and he gets dumped going into turn 1. that can still happen. It wouldn't surprise me at this rate just because it's the Truck Series at Martinsville, but I don't think something like that would happen at the Cup level necessarily, but I'm not rolling it out for the Truck and Xfinity Series. How am I feeling? A little tired, but honestly, I've been energetic throughout the stream. I'd say I've done fairly well for myself. I had a full work shift today. I'm not as tired as I was during the Las Vegas race a couple weeks ago when I did the same thing, considering that this race started an hour and a half early and we didn't have to deal with 2 rain delays in the middle of the race either. This is going to get done probably 3+ hours before the end of that stream that night. So yeah, I'm pretty good. But I'll still be crashing as soon as this is done because I got to work again in the morning. Pulling double duty. Got that trip at the end of next month. We got Talladega, Texas on the agenda. I'll be at both of those NASCAR Cup Series races. I will be doing live commentary for ARCA at Dega. I'm not sure about Xfinity quite yet. Trucks are off that weekend. And then as far as the following weekend at Texas, I'll be doing commentary for Truck and Xfinity, but not Cup. We'll have race highlights from the grandstands. More on that the closer we get to that point. But yeah, I'm going to be gone for a couple weeks. So even those live commentary streams are going to be from a remote location in the nearby area of both of those racetracks. So kind of interesting developments for what will be happening on the channel here next month. But a lot of cool content coming your way. You can definitely tell we're getting closer and closer to the end. And drivers are getting more and more frustrated with each other because I've seen quite a few leaning on one another, trying to make passes a lot more through the center of the corner, charging hard on the entry, moving up maybe quarter lane, half lane, leaning on the guy to the outside, trying to find some sort of an advantage to finally pull clear. Quite a ways through the night, other than for a driver like Corey Heim, everybody else has had to battle for 2 to 3+ laps, it seems like, when they're side by side with another truck around them in the field. Things are relatively spaced out at the very front, surprisingly, despite all the close action that's been going on back half of the top 10, middle of the pack. 8 seconds is the difference between 1st and 5th. But then you go from like 5th through, let's take a big sample size here, 5th through 19th is another 8-second gap. So a lot tighter in the back half of the top 10, middle of the pack portion of the field, and the separation there compared to just the top 5 trucks alone. 2.1 second lead for Corey Heim. Again, Ty Majeski in 2nd, Caden Honeycutt 3rd, Chandler Smith 4th, and Raja Carruth rounds out the top 5 and 5th. And we are currently at 53 laps to go. Oh, Corey Day is around, backed it up into the outside wall, probably had some help. And caution is out for the 6th time tonight, and our 4th for incident, 2nd crash of stage 2. Quite a bit of damage to the left side of that racetrack. There's actually some damage in the front bumper area of the 7. So this is going to be interesting to see this replay. But there could have been a log jam which ended up causing him to spin to the outside and maybe not have gotten necessarily dumped. Because there's a hole in the nose of the truck, as well as obviously the back is bashed in. The back is bashed in because he backed it into the wall. That is clear. Tough to tell who got into him from behind until we see a replay and who might have been in front of him as well. I just hope it wasn't Luke Baldwin, who was side by side with Corey Day when he ended up having his problem earlier in the stage. Have we seen retribution? Even though I still think that that was Baldwin's fault for the first incident. 52 laps to go under caution. Yeah, it was Dawson Sutton. Oh, wow. So the hole in the nose of the 7 was from before. Which I wonder if it was maybe him moving Sutton the first time. Because Sutton just flat out dumped Corey Day. I mean, that looked clear as day. That was an old-fashioned slam him, use him as your brakes, and I don't care what happens to him. Now there's a hole in the nose of the 26, but we clearly know how that happened. Raja Karuth coming onto pit road. This is interesting from 5th place.
These are all the trucks that stayed out last time. They got one set left. So
Crafton's in also?
Hope there were something.
I'm shocked.
Crafton there in the 88 truck. William Byron is on pit road. Gio Ruggiero.
Rajan was a really fast truck, so like you said, just get on a different page for these other trucks and see if you can mix it up. You know you're not going to beat Corey Heim straight up, so put on those fresh tires and see if you can get it done. Different strategy.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. Yeah, I mean,
I don't.
Like you said, Michael, you're not going to beat them the way it is. You better somehow find a way to get an advantage. They tried. This group of trucks already tried to beat him one way by staying out and getting the track position. Okay, that didn't work. Let's put tires on. See if we can beat him this way.
Love that.
On Sunday, it's time for some.
The only thing is, though, at some point, I feel like you have to accept the fact that you're not quick enough to win the race. Giving up a 5th place running position with 50 laps to go for tires which have basically not been a big factor, I don't think Raja Karuth gets back to the top 5 where he was running. I mean, he held on relatively strong on the last restart. I think whatever fresh tire advantage they had before had definitely wore out during that green flag run enough that I don't think he was going to be at that detriment going through this next restart, any restart beyond that. Crafton, who was just behind him as well in 6th. I'm shocked that those two pitted. Not only they're going to have to survive these late race restarts in the mid to back of the pack now, which put themselves at very high risk of getting involved in an incident, whether it's of their own doing or not. I definitely don't think they get back in the top 5. They'd be lucky to get back in the top 10. Tim Irvin, thanks for the $4.99 super chat. I see you. Much appreciated. Get those Martinsville hot dogs, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, no kidding. Cousin's moving to Nashville next month. Might check out that track down there. Yeah, it'd be a fun time. I mean, the way the next gen races on the intermediate tracks, you go to any like mile and a half or close to it like Nashville is, and you'll probably get treated to a pretty good race. Kathy Pearson, welcome to the stream. Pulling for AJ Waller. There you go. Like the polling for one of the drivers deep in the field. Unfortunately, he's 26 laps down, and I think he pulled off the racetrack for a brief period of time back at stage 2. He is back on the racetrack, so that's why he's 26 laps down. Not sure exactly what happened. They didn't discuss that at all in FS1, but same for Frankie Muniz. He had pulled off the track for a short while for about 20 laps. And he is 20 laps down as a result, but is back on the racetrack and running. Norm Benning, who pulled off very early, back out there as well. And I think that's because Ryan Roulette retired from the race. So Norm Benning no longer in last. Roulette is, who caused that, or was the cause of that first incident earlier off the front bumper of Corey Heim.
Get your guts out on this restart.
Look at Tyler Ankrum right up there as well. 46 laps to go. Corey Heim, Ty Majeski. King Mike not giving up.
And Ty Majeski, not a good start to the gears. And here they are going to be 3 wide down into turn 3.
Cade Honeycutt right up the middle.
Oh boy.
Wow.
Oh boy. 3 wide didn't work earlier. Oh, Majeski's in a tough spot.
We've seen Chandler Smith make this move a couple times, right? We've seen him in the middle of 3 at some point a couple times. It's comfortable for him.
Whole lap without wrecking. I don't think I've ever seen that 3 pot around here. They sorted it out.
Majeski takes over the second spot. With Tyler Ankrum right there, the highest we've seen him tonight. Daniel Hemrick in the 19.
And look at Luke Baldwin in that 66. He's up to 7.
Yeah, no kidding.
He's just been moving forward all night long.
He is fast.
He has been so fast. Ever since he spun out, I don't know what happened.
Oh, there he goes again.
Damage by Matt Cole.
That's a shame.
Truck. Corey Day again.
Corey Day's had a rough night.
There, man. Like you said, Joey, everything's stacked up. You know, and Jake just didn't run over him, but that's certainly what it looked like, huh?
He was ripping through the field too, passing a lot of trucks. Really, looking good. Like he can have like a top 5 in his future there, and this is obviously going to make that a lot harder to do.
That's rough for Luke Baldwin. The good news is, Joey, though, he has 2 more starts. He'll take all the things that he's learned tonight. But no, he is back. Corey now continues to lead. 42 laps remaining at Martinsville.
There's a good chunk taken out of that left rear, too, for, I don't want to say Luke Fenhouse again, Luke Baldwin. Done that a couple times already tonight. Luke Baldwin, the other Luke, in the 66. Yeah, out of nowhere, just got up to 7th on that last restart. Corner after they mentioned it on the broadcast gets turned by Jake Garcia. It looked like Garcia was either crowded or, I mean, he definitely had a lot of trucks breathing down his neck as well. Until we see a clean replay, we're not going to really know for sure if it was mostly on Garcia there. It took place right in the middle of the corner. Not as much through the entry portion of turn 3. Most of our spins tonight have taken place on that end of the track at 3 and 4 rather than 1 and 2. 7th caution of the race and our 3rd yellow for incident in stage 3. 5th caution for incident total in this event. 40 laps to go as we're under yellow. 47 laps ran under caution. Only 2 lead changes. Corey Heim has dominated this thing. 143 laps led out of 160 so far. Jeremy Granger Jr., thanks for tuning in. Yeah, those are teammates too. 13 in the 66 are teammates at Thor Sport Racing. Jake Garcia, of course, running full-time this season. Another reason it lead me to believe that he might have gotten hit from behind. Considering how late into the corner it was, I'd like to think that Garcia got hit from behind before he got into the back of Baldwin. $61 likes on the stream. Greatly appreciate that, everybody. While we wait for the action to come back on Fox Sports 1, we'll take another quick break of our own. You're listening live on KRC to the Boys and Girls Club of the Blue Ridge 200 at Martinsville.
39 laps to go. It's run under caution for the 7th time. Happy to have you joining us for this Friday night short track race under the lights. It's been all about Corey Heim. He's led 144 laps.
All about Corey Heim. Just great driving, restart after restart. Look at there, the train's coming by.
Choo choo, chugga chugga chugga
How
chugga.
close that is to the racetrack. You hear those trains coming throughout the day. And Joey, you guys sleep here and your coach is at the track.
So you hear them through the night, actually.
A little repair there on Luke Baldwin's 66. He remained on the lead lap.
Well, let's take a look at the night so far. Early on, we saw hard charging Lane Riggs in the 34 get spun around. Corey Heim dominates stages 1 and 2.
And then action starts to heat up.
Corey Day just hands full there after Luke Baldwin spin there.
Dolphin sucking and we got the day again. There's Hughes.
Put in here involved with 66 laps again.
No, he didn't get. Yeah, he just.
Jake Garcia.
It wasn't a pinball. He just got into him.
After that one, you saw Corey Day go around. His day is just.
It did look like he left a little too much of the bottom open, and then Garcia tried to get into the hole,
2 different leagues.
and then it closed up right in the middle of the corner a little too late.
Martinsville.
There's a 60-50 chance we haven't seen our last caution too, Jim.
60-50. They had 11 cautions.
60-50.
Sure, looked at that show.
I looked at him for a second and I was like, do you know you said that right?
60
This is where the Chiefs, this is where it gets a little bit more challenging, right? Majeski hasn't been able to really restart the gears well. He's got the second best truck, but it's a distant second. And, you know, as you come down to the end of the race, that outside lane becomes a little bit more of a risk to take.
Yeah.
And it's how much do you trust the truck that's inside of you? Really, the question that Majeski needs to ask is Honeycutt takes third, you know, the second car on the bottom car on the second row. Do you trust him not to ship Corey Heim up the racetrack, and before you know it, you're 3 wide up top, right? So, you know, we'll see how bad Honeycutt or what Honeycutt is willing to do.
Yeah.
To try to win the race here.
And it's interesting, don't you think, when someone has been as good and dominant as Heim has been, does Honeycutt say, I got to put the buffer to him? Or is he like, you know, he's been dominant. I'm going to respect that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it depends on who you are. And
Yeah.
I mean, I say it all the time. NASCAR racing will test your morals in a lot of ways, especially as the playoffs go around. So, what are you willing to do, right? And we're all going to learn today what Kate Honeycutt is willing to do.
He's been fun to watch on restarts, and you see it says the trip back there on the decklet, the rear spoiler there. That is the Triple Truck Challenge. Tonight is the first of 3 races. So the driver who is eligible that wins the race or finishes highest, right now looks like it'll be an eligible Truck Series regular. They get to take home a $50,000 bonus. So a lot of extra money on the line. Try it in the air once again. Honeycutt all over the bumper. Let's go.
Ooh.
This is going to be a tough pass for Honeycutt still, but he's got inside of Corey Heim. This is the closest we've seen anybody. Look, he's gaining position through the corner.
Oh, rough and tumble. Big push for Majeski.
Oh no! I told you it could happen.
Left rear is flat.
Oh my gosh.
For the 8th time.
Oh my goodness.
I saw that coming. I told you guys it wasn't impossible. As dominant as he was, that was the one way he could have lost this race. Contact on the...
Here off of turn 4 quite a bit.
And that was enough to get that tire, right?
Right there. And I think right here he realized it's flat. He's lifting, and Ty Majeski doesn't know that, right? So he didn't do anything wrong. But gosh, and that's just Martinsville racing. The crazy thing about this, Michael, is this whole field's been leaning at each other all night long, and we haven't seen a left rear tire go flat like
Just
that.
the perfect storm, or the imperfect storm for Corey Heim. They made slight contact, Martinsville type contact, as you see right here.
Yeah, like that's not bad. And there it is. You see it flat already, just
Immediately, yeah.
What a turn of events. We were just talking about Caden Honeycutt and what he can do. He was aggressive on the restart, got himself in position. Now he finds himself as the leader.
Just to be clear, like Caden Honeycutt, I don't see anything wrong that he did. Right? He was racing at the end of Martinsville. You're going to have contact.
He was
knew
being
had to rough him up
super
again.
aggressive.
Pushed him up the racetrack a little bit, started racing him. I think that's okay. In my book, everybody's book's a little bit different, but it's all right. And
Like
unfortunately for
Joey's defending.
he got flat tired. Gosh, this is let's listen to the 45. I think we got a little radio from him.
Not his tire out? I don't know. It's on the floor, but I didn't think it was that bad. I checked the right side, guys. I really hope I did not do that.
Well, he kind of did it.
I think Joey said it so well. In Martinsville, you're going to rub. I mean, there's no way around it, and that was a rub, and it just took his tire out. Doesn't make it any better for Corey Heim.
Michael, you brought up the heartbreak a week ago at the end of Homestead after dominating the race from the pole. When both David, here's a look back at what happened. He's leading. All of a sudden, he falls off the pace. Joey, you guys are thinking, what in the world is just what's happened to the?
It shuts off. He gets back going. Shut off again. Gets back going again. and he still almost finished second after all that.
And bummed out. He still finished third, but just best truck of his life, he said. And then tonight, has this moment after leading 149 laps.
Yeah, it must be like the side skirt or the exhaust pipe. It just got into the sidewall just enough to cut it down. See, he's still moving around on that flat tire. He's finally making it pit road. His pit road opens finally.
That is a long drive down to his pit box, the number 1 box.
Now does your spotter, if you're Ty Majeski, Tyler Ankrum with a strong run, does the spotter say, Honeycutt roughed up the leader, so don't be shy about you and your bumper. Those words sometimes get passed down from these spotters to the driver.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, ultimately it's the driver's decision on how they're going to race, right? I know you see a lot of the spotters there. These guys are all professionals and they understand it. And I don't think they're going to be the guys that instigate something most of the time, right? The best spotters understand that it's best that I keep my driver calm and not try to get him fired up to make a decision that may not be the best for his future.
So Caden Honeycutt, the leader right now, his best career finish was 4th in the Truck Series. This is just his 39th start. But Michael, I know you've been high on him since the beginning. Every time he gets a shot in one of these trucks, and he earned it. He's a full-time driver for Nice Motorsports this year.
It's been fun to see him get his leg. He's like, watch Lane Riggs. You could tell early.
That damage.
Well, you see, that's probably what cut down, not to cut you guys off, but if we could zoom in there a little bit, you can see the right side skirt of that truck just sticking out. That's a weapon, right?
Yeah.
I believe that's what cut down the left rear for you. I
wonder how damaged it was before the initial contact with him.
So interesting, the monitor, Majeski. That's right. Majeski went for the inside of the second row. Ankrum takes the front row.
What about Ankrum? Terrible qualifying effort, and he's marched his way all the way through this field.
Sounds like Martinsville. If you can just survive and keep yourself in the hunt, you have a chance at the end of it. And here we are with 28 to go.
200 lapper, he came from 24th all the way to the front row here, going. That's got to be a great feeling. Majeski chooses to line up behind Honeycutt here. He hadn't done that. 49, he went to the outside of mine.
It's been 128 races since Tyler Ankrum went to victory lane. He restarts on the front row. Caden Honeycutt Green flag is in the air. 27 laps to go at Martinsville.
Honeycutt clear zone. Honey clear ankle. I think he's going to.
Jenski is there. Anchored stuck on the outside.
He's on two race side by side, so it's going to give Honeycutt a chance to get away from Majeski. But I do believe Majeski has the second best truck if he's able to get cleared here.
And there's Daniel Hemrick right there behind Majeski trying to size him up.
I say the second best truck to Corey Hines. So now I think he has the best one. He can go up there and chase it down.
Good ankle. He decides to give up that second spot and roll in behind Majeski, holding off the 19 of Daniel Hemrick.
Hemrick having his best race of the season since coming back to the Truck Series. It's 3 wide.
No.
That's not gonna work.
Gio Ruggiero in a 17.
Yep. Oh my gosh.
Tanner Gray, trucks all over the place. There's 10 ropes on the inside.
I cannot.
Now we got 2 rows of 3 wide.
Done, yes, it's 3 by 3. 2 rows now.
There's more time. Back on fresh tires, trying to make hay right now. Oh,
Ah.
my goodness.
Corey.
What was that? Well, now he's trying to bounce back.
So it's bound for 20th. They're racing that hard.
It's like Talladega.
That's a huge fender rub on
William.
William Byron. Guys, we haven't talked much about him. He's kind of been mired there.
Oh, we got trouble.
group of trucks, 2 by 3 for one time. There.
Jack Wood, Brandon. Well, it's been a rough night for Grant Enfinger. Just not happy with that race truck. So the caution is out for the 9th time. King Honeycutt
Ay.
continues to lead. Here's what happened.
That was just a matter of time. Dawson Sutton slow up top. Grant Enfinger into inner.
Yeah, that looked like that was all on Tanner Gray.
Sir,
That advance.
there were sparks off of Grant Enfinger's truck as they went into that corner. It makes me wonder if that truck had a flat right front, because it did kind of take off up the hill quite a bit. I almost wonder if he had a flat right. I have to see that one more time to really say that's for sure what happened. But those sparks in the braking zone before he made contact would tell me that that right front might have been down.
That's the result of 3 wide at Martinsville for a couple of laps. And will bring that number 9 to pit road. Pretty good about my 60-50% chances that they're going to come another caution.
Yeah, I think there'll be another one.
I don't think that it might not be over.
Remember that $50,000 is on the line for the winner here. These are all eligible drivers. How cool that would be. While we continue under caution, I think amazing finishes in this place in the cup side, and oh, look at jail. How about this battle, Joey?
This was one of the most important races of my life, because this is what propelled us into the championship four in Miami, ultimately winning us the championship in 2018. So that was a do or die moment, and it felt good. That felt good.
We drove your butt.
So Caden Honeycutt leads in this race. Ty Majeski currently scored in second under the caution with just less than 20 laps to go now. We'll go through the rest of the leaderboard here quickly. Tyler Ankrum is in third. Daniel Hemrick is fourth. Chandler Smith fifth. Jake Garcia is sixth. Seventh for Andres Perez. Lane Riggs is eighth. Stuart Friesen ninth. And Raja Caruth 10th. Lawless Allen 11th. Matt Mills 12th. William Byron 13th. Matt Crafton 14th. Ben Rhodes 15th. 16th for Gio Ruggiero. We'll shuffle up the leaderboard a little bit. There was a change. I think that's because Byron was on pit road. So Byron, who was 13th, now Mills slides up to 13th. Then Matt Kraft at 14th. Ben Rhodes 15th. Connor Mosack at 16th. Dawson Sutton 17th. Gio Ruggiero 18th. Corey Hyman's up to 19th after his flat tire and spin a couple cautions ago, right around 30 laps left. 20th place, Spencer Boyd. Luke Baldwin, 21st. He had a late spin. 2 spins total on the night for Baldwin. None of his own doing. Patrick Staropoli is 22nd. Justin Carroll, 23rd. Jack Wood, 24th. Tanner Gray, 25th. Grant Enfinger, 26th. Matt Gould, last truck in the lead lap, at 27th. Tony Breitinger, 3 laps down in 28th. Nathan Bird, 5 laps down, 29th. Cody Dennison, 5 laps down in 30th. Corey Day pulled off the racetrack after the last spin he was involved in. 31st place finish for him. Or at least not the finish. He'll actually finish a little bit further back than that because A.J. Waller, who's on the racetrack, is about to overtake him for position. As of right now, Waller's at 32nd. 2 more laps ran, and he will pass Day for 31st. And Frankie Muniz in 33rd. I believe is off the track again. And then Norm Benning, 34th, pulled off again. Ryan Roulette also out of the race, 35th. So a few DNFs so far tonight. 9 cautions, only the 3 lead changes. And Caden Honeycutt out in front trying to hold on for his first career Craftsman Truck Series win. Cannon _37, thanks for tuning in. Honeycutt, Majeski, Garcia, what you're wanting. Well, you got a good chance of that. Front row's more than likely going to be filled up with Honeycutt and Majeski here. Although Ankrum was outside of row 1 on the last restart, so there's a chance Majeski takes inside row 2 again. Worked out well for him to get to second the last time. We'll have 15 laps to go in the restart. Honeycutt and Majeski go to the inside. Who was 6th place will be outside row 2. So of the top 5, 4 took the bottom. The 3rd place car of Tyler Ankrum will be outside of row 1. Chandler Smith, who would have been in 5th, is going to be inside row 4. Nobody wants to get on the outside lane for a late race restart and be at risk of getting used up, essentially. Stuffed into the wall, tire cut like we saw at the leader, Corey Heim. Heim will be inside row 9. More cautions at this race is probably going to help him, especially if these cautions are from trucks that are involved in incidents in front of him. Honeycutt Ankrum, green flag back in the air. Honeycutt obviously on the inside is the control car in the restart. Relatively good restart on the outside of row 1 for Tyler Ankrum. Majeski pushes the 45 into the first turn. Honeycutt trying to hold on. Majeski trying to find a way underneath him. Down the back straightaway into turn 3, deep into the braking zone, but Caden gets back down to the inside. 14 laps to go at the line, and although he got to the inside on corner entry, corner exit, Ty Majeski is underneath him. Side by side for the lead. Oh, they whipped each other in. Both the 98 and the 45 into the wall in turns 1 and 2, and the caution's out. 14 to go. It looked like Majeski overcooked the entry and took himself and Honeycutt out in the process. Big mistake by a very good veteran short track racer nonetheless. Majeski, not to mention the defending series champion. That's not a mistake you usually see him make. But it looked like he just carried too much entry speed into the corner. Unless Tyler Ankrum got into him, but I don't think he did. No, he did not. He just went wide. Drove it in too deep. Honeycutt, who took Heim out, is now out. And Majeski, who took Honeycutt out, is also out. So Tyler Ankrum is going to be the leader. Daniel Hemrick is going to be second. And we have our 10th caution in a 200-lap truck race at Martinsville. We have Jimmy Clements in the chat. Welcome to the stream. What quiz am I going to be doing this weekend? I'm not entirely sure yet. Not entirely sure. I kind of go through the Sporkle roundabout, I guess, like an hour or so before the stream starts and just kind of start looking up stuff up. Sometimes I'll do it a little earlier in the morning after I get my notes prepared for the stream. But yeah, that's more of a day of thing. It looked like the 98 wheel hopped the entry. That truck bounced around quite a bit before making contact with Honeycutt. And ensuing, causing the incident. Corey Heim's up to 14th. I'm keeping an eye on him. We keep getting these restart after restart. The problem is, with the cautions, he is losing laps. He's probably going to need a couple overtimes to have a chance. But that knocked 2 more of them out. On top of the fact he was able to gain 5 positions total on that last restart, which was barely over a lap long. Majeski's truck is clear of damage. Not going to be able to say the same for Honeycutt, unfortunately. He backed his truck into the wall pretty hard. Harder than Corey Day, and Day's out of the race. So Ankrum and Hemrick. Front row, Jake Garcia, Chandler Smith, row 2. Oh boy. 10 to go, still under caution. We are not going to have many laps left when we get back to green flag and get going again. Not the last caution, says William Wiley in the chat. Leaders to wreckers. Yeah, I'm convinced nobody wants to win this race now. What is going on? The only way I can explain this, it's the Truck Series at Martinsville. And honestly, I didn't expect much different. This race was so clean for so long. And then we got to about 50 laps to go. And I don't think we've had a green flag run longer than 3 or 4 laps. It has been a rough stretch. We definitely haven't had a green flag run longer than a couple laps since the Heim incident. That was with more than 30 to go. We'll have 8 laps left on the restart. Ankrum inside of row 1. No surprise that the control car has been on the bottom of row 1 for every restart. It just doesn't seem like that outside gets a great launch. Kind of similar to Homestead last week where they just seem to spin their tires. Can't get going. On top of that, you have to deal with maybe getting ran up the racetrack by 1 or maybe even 2 trucks underneath you if somebody tries to force it in 3 wide, which we haven't seen that for the lead yet, but we've seen almost everything other than that. I would like to think Daniel Hemrick's not going to do that, but he's never won in the Truck Series, and he actually hasn't won at any of the top 3 series in NASCAR since that championship win back in 2021, the Xfinity Series. So he's been due. 4 seasons since that last victory in a National Touring Series event. All right, Ankrum Garcia will be row 1. Garcia from 3rd will be outside of the first row. Green flag back in the air. Garcia spins his tires, and they're all wadded up on the front stretch. Oh my goodness, I thought we were going to have a parking lot crash there for a second. They got back going in the right direction again. Garcia loses a spot. Hemrick does get to 2nd. Though Garcia covers the bottom on the back straightaway on the 38 of Chandler Smith. And the race for the win with 7 laps to go is between the 18 and the 19 if it stays green. Corey Heim, meanwhile, has cracked the top 10 again. They're stacking up just in front of him. Big tire rub on the left front of Lane Riggs' number 34 Ford. Corey Heim's outside 3 wide. It is a jumbled mess back there. Right around where Ben Rhodes, Lawless Allen, Lane Riggs are. Corey Heim just pushed Allen into Riggs. Riggs keeps it straight. Somehow. He was drifting all the way through 1 and 2 with Lawless Allen basically hooked to the door of the race truck. 5 to go. Meanwhile, at the very front of the field, again, it is Ankrum and Hemrick. Hemrick to the back bumper of Ankrum. Bump and run. A nudge. And Hemrick looks low. Into turn 3 and 4. They'll be coming up on 4 to go at the line. Hemrick runs him up the track just a little bit. Another slight rub, but can't get the run. Ankrum leads that time by at the line. Lap truck Matt Crafton down on the bottom of the racetrack is slow. Might be in the way of trucks further back in the field. Hemrick still not clear off turn 2. Longer he takes, the more of a chance Garcia is going to close the gap. Back in 3rd, Garcia looks low underneath the 18 as finally Hemrick is clear for the lead. 3 laps to go. First time Daniel Hemrick has led all night. Can he hold on and or run away with it? Can Drake Garcia have a chance to get back into 2nd on the 18 truck as well? Daniel Hemrick looking for his first career win in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. And the 19 truck that was dominated on short tracks last season by that of Christian Eckes. First traditional short track in 2025, the 19 might go back to victory lane again with Hemrick behind the wheel. Haven't really talked about him all night until now. White flag in the air, 1 lap to go. Just over a half a second lead out of that bump and run range as they head down the back straightaway for the final time. And Daniel Hemrick is going to get his first career NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series win at Martinsville Speedway. Mark the calendar, March 28th, Friday night, 2025. And Hemrick steals it at the paperclip. Tyler Ankrum ends up in second place. Jake Garcia third. Chandler Smith fourth. Ben Rhodes rounds out the top 5. Corey Heim comes back to finish 6th. Andres Perez 7th. Raja Caruth 8th. Stuart Friesen 9th. Lawless Allen rounds out the top 10. I thought Lane Riggs lost way more spots than he did on that final slide he had, but apparently he still finished 11th. Gio Ruggiero 12th. Ty Majeski in 13th. William Byron 14th, Matt Mills 15th, Dawson Sutton 16th, Spencer Boyd 17th, Justin Carroll 18th, Jack Wood 19th, and Patrick Staropoli rounds out the top 20. Tanner Gray 21st, Luke Baldwin 22nd, Matt Gold was the last truck to finish on the lead lap in 23rd. Tony Breidinger a lap down in 24th, same for Grant Enfinger in 25th. Connor Mosack 2 laps down in 26th, Caden Honeycutt 2 laps down in 27th. Matt Crafton 28th, 3 laps down. Nathan Bird 4 laps down in 29th. Cody Dennison 5 laps down in 30th. AJ Waller finished 26 laps down in 31st. And then we had 4 DNFs tonight. Corey Day finishing in 32nd. Frankie Muniz 33rd. Noah Benning 34th. And Ryan Roulette rounding out our 35 truck field. Margin of victory half a second for Daniel Hemrick over Tyler Ankrum. Hemrick led only the final 4 laps of tonight's race. 149 and 2 stage wins for Corey Heim, finishing in 6th after starting on the pole. Dominant truck of the evening, had a tire cut on a restart with just more than 30 to go. Came from the back, just not enough laps to get there, even with how quick the truck was. And a backflip. I forgot that Daniel Hemrick does the backflip. We've only seen it one other time, but there it is. Crowd goes nuts for it. That was cool to see. I almost missed it. I kind of looked up and I was like, oh, he's about to do a backflip. He sticks the landing. And Daniel Hemrick will be celebrating on the front stretch here at Martinsville Speedway, and you'll get to hear from him in Winter Circle.
Alive towards the end of that race. Talk to me about that battle you had with your teammate in the 18 truck, what ultimately led to this victory.
Man, I've been losing my voice here all week. I think I saw you earlier today and didn't really have one, but we found the way there at the end. I wanted to race Tyler. Obviously, we got a long season ahead. I want to race as clean as I could, but I've been, I walked out of here twice thinking there's a missing spot in my dining room for a clock, so it's cool to finally get one here, to have Mike and Paula from Gates Hydraulics here. The first race of me. This truck's now 3 for 3 here. This exact same chassis. Huge congrats. Thanks to everyone at MHR, Bill McAnally, and Bill Hillerman for this opportunity, man. I said I want to come back here and not come back here to get back anywhere. Just come back here to win, to stay humble, just enjoy this journey, man. I'm so thankful for the path I've been on. And I'll see us after 50 grand we won. So thanks to Craftsman and what a series. Super proud just to be here and Napa Auto Care, Poppy Bank, South Point Hotel Casino. I'm sure I'm forgetting somebody, but man, we've had a lot of good tools. Chevrolet does a lot for us, but so sweet to have a clock there sending the home here soon.
You got the clock, of course, the Triple Truck Challenge winner, so you take the check as well. And you got on top of the truck. I saw you thinking a while about the backflip. Were you always going to do that, or were you a little hesitant there?
Yeah, the funny thing is, my wife asked me a couple weeks ago if I was old enough, if I felt like I was young enough and not too old to do it. I said I better practice one. So last week in our backyard, I cut a backflip on the flat ground. I thought the old man still got it and proved that tonight.
Congrats on the win. Caitlin?
Gosh, 2 weeks in a row now for Corey Heim. Frustrating circumstances keeping you from a win. What are the emotions that you're experiencing right now? And what are the positives perhaps you can take from the speed you've had 2 weeks in a row?
Yeah, a lot of frustration for us. Really wanted to get a win for Toyota's 5 on the truck start, but obviously I had the Tundra to do it today. Just feel like we, I don't know, got used up there a little bit. So I don't think he intended to cut my left rear down. I think if he wanted to do that, he would have just wrecked me as it is. So wanted to, and then just kind of run into me in 3 and 4. I mean, it wasn't anything malicious, but I don't know. I guess I would have liked to have been cutter brake. And in hindsight, I think if he knew he was going to cut down my left rear, he probably wouldn't have done it. But it doesn't stop me from being pretty frustrated at him to begin with. So super thankful for Track on Garage, Toyota Racing. This Mobile One Tundra was really good today. I just feel like we, I don't know, just needed a better restart, I guess.
Thank you. Tough break for Corey Heim, 2 weeks in a row now. Jamie?
You can make a legitimate case that Corey Heim should have won 4 of the first 5 races this season. That's crazy. I mean, I said it was going to feel like an upset if he doesn't win a race that's won by another truck regular, and I could say that this is definitely an upset, especially considering Daniel Hemrick gets his first career win in the Craftsman Truck Series. But that truck has gone to victory lane now 3 times in a row, as you just heard from Hemrick, with the same chassis that was won both times by Christian Eckes last season. Dominated the fall race here last year, and although Hemrick leads only the final 4 laps, they're the most important, and he does get the victory. We did finish under our regulation length of 200 laps here tonight, no overtime, despite the fact we had 10 cautions for 69 caution laps over the 200 lap event. Only the 5 lead changes, most of those coming late after the, not departure from the race for Corey Heim, but what felt like it, considering he was dominating and again led 149 of the 200 laps here this evening. As far as Daniel Hemrick goes, he did start in the 5th place position. He was kind of quietly running 4 through 6 most of the race, but cycled up because not only Heim had his deal, but then he had Ty Majeski wheel hopping into turn 1, battling too hard for a race win potentially, with about 14 to go with Caden Honeycutt. Both tried Hemrick to settle it amongst themselves on the restart. Bump and run move for Hemrick. He was definitely quicker than Ankrum. Ankrum couldn't quite hold on. Hemrick knew he had to make the move quickly as Garcia was closing from behind in the final 3 to 4 laps. Once he had passed Ankrum, was able to hold on nicely and extend his lead to about a half a second plus for those final 3 to 4 laps as well. So congratulations to Daniel Hemrick, needless to say. And thank you to all of you that watched throughout the course of tonight's live commentary stream of the Craftsman Truck Series at Martinsville Speedway. 1 hour 50 minutes, by the way, total time in this one. Relatively short race considering we had 10 cautions in it. It definitely lengthened the pace out quite a bit. We'll have a 250-lap Xfinity Series race tomorrow evening at 5 p.m. Eastern, and we will also have NASCAR Cup Series practice and qualifying tomorrow afternoon as well. So doubleheader for your Saturday on the channel. That practice qualifying stream for the Cup Series will begin at 2 p.m. Eastern, and that will be broadcasted live on Amazon Prime. So if you're unable to watch it, or you like my commentary, which I greatly much appreciate you guys stating comments like that every weekend, thank you for coming back. 3 more streams this weekend. Again, the doubleheader tomorrow. We actually have a Sunday race, obviously, as well, if you didn't know. 400 laps for the Cup Series, 2:30 p.m. Eastern with our pre-race coverage there. Have a good rest of your Friday night. We'll be back better than ever for a doubleheader tomorrow. Thank you, everybody.